ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, again for coming here during the holiday week. I know we have a few less people here this week, and that I think just because of the 4th of July, some people are out and about. But I really appreciate everybody that made the effort to come in here tonight. In particular, our judge who just made the long drive this morning from Wyoming, and we were out of North Dakota and South Dakota. And
yeah, Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and thank you again for making the special effort to start your drive early this morning and arriving here just in time to meet the judge. I really appreciate it. So again, thank you everybody else, and thank you for online. Thank you to everybody who submitted images. We have a few less tonight. I think maybe again just part of it due to the holiday week and that, but still I'm sure some amazing images that we'll be able to see here. And hopefully a lot of us had a chance to learn from Teri's great presentation that she gave a couple of months ago on food photography. So tonight we get a chance to see what we all learned. A couple of other things that I wanted to bring up here, just other upcoming events. We've got the next one here in July is July 19th. That's the annual scavenger hunt. So this is the 5th annual scavenger hunt, and they're always a really good time. Bruce has done a great job of coordinating those in the past, and he's still coming up with the right location. And I think he's already got a theme for it, but we get the items on the day of, right, on July 19th.
Yeah,
we'll get those in advance. But hopefully many of us will be able to join that at the there'll be some part somewhere in the area in that on July 19th. If you can't make it to that, you still usually have, what is it, a few days to get the images elsewhere.
they'll get from Wednesday to Sunday midnight to submit the images.
So you don't necessarily have to be at that, but it's always a fun social time in that for those that can at whatever park it is, the location in that'll be up. Again, that's July 19th. So
What time?
2 weeks from today, that would be
It'll probably be like meeting time, 6:30, something like that.
6:30. So you get time. If it's at a park, you get at least a couple hours to go out and photograph at the park. Let's see here. After that, the next one is the next meeting would be first Wednesday in August. I believe that's August 2nd. That's an exhibition night. Again, for those that have participated in those in the past, submit up to 4 images. They don't get judged, but you get a chance to share with the group your images and a little bit of the story behind the image, any post-processing techniques that you may have used, and we open it up to the floor for feedback on that. So always a real good educational opportunity, and that is on Wednesday, August 2nd. August 16th, we have a presentation on tonal contrast in landscape photography, and the presenter on that is Doug Bennett, a very well-known landscape photographer. So be interesting to get his take on the total contrast in landscape photography that evening. So that is Wednesday, August 16th. Going into September, we've got the next competition night is the first Wednesday in September. That's September 6th. The theme for that one is moody / mostly color. So that would include moody images, and it's up to you. You have your creativity to think of what moody means to you. And then with the mostly color, if I understand that correctly, it's an image that has a dominant color to it, right? Like a color that is really pronounced throughout the image. Is that right, Dave?
Well, yeah, like mostly yellow or mostly
when you look
blue or mostly
right,
green.
whatever the
So what do
subject
you do
is.
for monochrome?
And you go
Moody.
Yeah, moody.
Just pure moody. Moody. Right?
So again, that's September 16th. That's our next competition. So 2 months from about right now in that moody / mostly color. And then the presentation in September is on post-processing with Joseph Roybal, and that one is September 20th. For those that haven't been to one of Joseph's presentations in the past, they're really worth attending. He has done some workshops for us in that on Lightroom, on Photoshop, and on luminosity masking. So I'm guessing that a post-processing event will include some of all of those. So that's September 20th. So with that, we'll get started here in a few moments. In that, I want to again thank Teri Virbickis for showing up tonight, again making the long drive. Teri, as I mentioned earlier, in that gave us a great presentation on food photography a couple of months ago. So really looking forward to hearing her comments on our food and still life images tonight. Teri is a very talented photographer from Colorado who photographs many genres. She says not so much people, but almost everything else. Food and beverage, landscapes, wildlife, flowers. I know I've had, and she's not afraid to get up early in the morning, and that I know I was out there with she and another member, Phil Rubino, about a year ago this fall, and we all met at about 3 a.m. to get a photograph of moose, and had a great time. So,
that again.
that's right, we'll have to do that one again. It was great, and fortunately, a couple of moose showed up. One of the things she enjoys about photography is allows her to live in the moment, not worrying so much about what has happened in the past, but concentrating on what's happening at that point in time and photographing it. Her photography allows Teri to share her moments in time with others, the beauty of everyday life that goes on all around us. She also photographs for several stock photography agencies and has remained very successful in this, what has become a very highly competitive market. She's also won several awards in local and national photography shows. So with that, I welcome Teri as tonight's judge. And with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Karina to open up tonight's competition.
All right. All right, here we go. Her hands. All right. I gave this a 6. And the reason I gave it a 6 was because granted the lighting is good, but I think it could have been, it looks a little too on the dark side. The detail's good in her hands. However, it kind of gives me an impression of, like, I know it's on a white surface, but it feels dirty to me. And I think it would have done much better had the vignetting been taken off of it and pull the whites up just a little. Hopefully not dealing with pulling the highlights down to deal with the highlights in her nails. So I just think it's a little bit too on the dark side for a white background. And it looks like, I don't know if that's Bruce's screen or if that's, it looks like in the upper right hand corner there's a lens, a sensor spot right in there. So, and actually there's a couple more down here in that corner. So, okay, next one. Lakeside Bouquet. All right, I gave this a 7. Love the storytelling, love the light. Tough for me to tell what is the focus point. Did you focus on the bouquet? Did you focus on the wine bottle? Did you focus on the table? I don't know what the depth of field was, but storytelling is awesome because it's like, okay, I want to go there and have a drink of wine. So the composition, everything is spot on. Just for me, it's kind of like, it looks like the wine bottle is out of focus, and not being able to zoom in and see what the flowers are or is it the tablecloth that's all in focus? Again, that's kind of where I kind of went a little bit to the south with that one, but pretty picture nonetheless.
Lemon drops.
Okay, very creative. And I gave this one, let's see, lemon drops. I gave it an 8. Although now that I'm looking at it, so I'm guessing the focus point was on that second lemon slice. No shadows, which is good. That's tough to do. This is tough to do because you got to do it on strings or do it on sticks or do it on something that you got to take off in post-processing. Looks like you've got, oh, that was on there. Okay. I was going to say that was not, but overall, good image. The detail in the skin is really good. Your highlights are handled really good. However, I would have maybe tilted those 2 lemon slices in the middle a little bit so I could see the center of the lemon instead of just the rind. But an 8.
Move over, I'm coming in.
Okay, another very creative image. 2 things. One, I can't tell is your focus point on the top strawberry or top raspberry or the one on the spoon? And if it's not the one on the spoon, it should be the one on the spoon. It doesn't look like that is in sharp focus or the sugar that's there. Also too, your setup, I see a little bit of a shadow, and I don't know if that's intentional or was that part of your pole that things were dropping from or hanging from or whatever, but kind of across the bottom of the top strawberry and down the side here. So I don't know if that was intentional, but anyway, I gave it a, let's see, move over. Which one is this?
Move over.
Yes, I gave it a 7.
This one is also lemon.
Okay, I gave it an 8. And I really don't have anything bad to say about it. Handled nicely. The reflection is great. Looks like your surfaces are clean because when you work on that kind of black acrylic surface, if that's what you were working on, or if you just, I'm guessing that's what you were working on. Yeah, tough to keep those clean, tough to keep the duff spots out. Looks like your lemon or your focus point was on the left lemon, which is appropriate when I look at something that's where my eye goes first. Your highlights are good, lighting is good. Nice work. That's a good one.
Sparkling fruit.
Okay, I gave this one a 7. The only couple of things that bother me about this are, one, the highlights in the cherries. Looks like you have a couple of on the top cherries that you have blown out highlights. And then my eye doesn't know where to go. What is your focus point? Who's the star of this picture? Typically in food photography, plus you've got these guys. I would have separated the 2 stars on the far right and in the center. I would have separated them a little bit, give them some space. But tough to tell. It looks like the right one is a little bit blurry. It's tough to tell how the focus is handled. Or did you focus? Because it looks like your sparklers are pretty much sharp, but not your fruit. So again, what's your focus point of that? 7.
Table at Rustico Restaurante.
Okay. I'm a color girl. Love the colors. Love everything about the background. The thing that bugs me about this image is the reflections. And so typically in food photography, when you use glasses, you usually either use a white card or a black card to kind of put in front of something to take away the reflections or the distraction of the reflections in a glass. So that, to me, my eye goes like, what? I'm trying to figure out what's reflecting in the glass. And one side I can kind of see a table, the other one looks like a person. And so for that reason, I gave it a 7. But love the colors, great storytelling in that one. And I know if you did it in a restaurant, that's tough to whip out a black card or, but it is a thing in food photography. Okay, so this is Hoshi. Okay, all right. So A+ for creativity on it. I gave this a 7, and here's why. I would have gone in much, much closer. First of all, my eye, I look at the sushi, and then I go to the crease in your tablecloth, and I follow it around to the crease onto the right. I would have gone much closer, and I probably would have come down with my point of view just a little bit. It's okay in food photography to not have everything showing up 100% in the frame. In fact, most of your food photography work, you'll always see something is what they call offset. So great idea. I think it would be served much better if it was more zoomed in.
What do you give this one?
A 7.
Tantalizing spaghetti.
Okay, I gave this an 8. This is great creativity. And the only thing that I didn't like about this was it needed more breathing room on the top. That I like the steam, and it's telling me it's piping hot, and it's telling me it's ready to eat, and I really want to eat it. The other thing is the spaghetti looks flat. Like if you're getting ready to put something in your mouth that's been cooked, it should have a shine and a sheen or some kind of, if it's olive oil that they mixed it in or a sauce they mixed it in. To me, it just looks like naked spaghetti hanging there. So little breathing room at the top and a little more sheen on that noodles, and that would be amazing.
The apple of my eye.
All right, I gave this a 7, and creativity is great, but 2 things. My eye goes immediately to that blown highlight on the upper right-hand, on the apple. I would have cloned that out and I would have gotten rid of it. The highlight on the top lets me know it's a little bit round, but I might have dealt with that a little bit more. And then as soon as I look at that highlight, I go right to the fork that's out of focus. So I may have changed it to where the fork was a little more in the back so that it's a main element and then it's out of focus. Plus your background is super duper wrinkled. And it kind of gives me the impression that something's on tilt because of how the creases in whatever your background is, this line across the top here. And I gave that a 7. I think I'm going to give it to the one in the middle, with the reflection. And the only reason is because the naked spaghetti bothers me. And if those lemon slices were turned a little bit more towards me and I could see the inside of the lemon more, that would have probably taken it, because that's tough to do, floating fruit.
Old full lemon. Oh, that's winner chicken dinner. And the last section here is the anniversary bouquet.
Okay, I gave this an 8. Very creative, only because I wish I could do still life. I don't know. For some reason, it's not something I do very well. Couple of things that kept it out of being a 9 or a 10 is on the table. It looks like there's some dust spots or something that fell. This flower that's off to here looks like it has a halo around it. I don't know if that's how it's reflecting off of the screen, off of your background, and then the background is wrinkly. So if you're going to do something, I mean, the pleats are great, but at least, come to the table with something that looks like you didn't just unroll it from unroll it from a box and hang it up in the background. So it looks a little too wrinkly for me.
What was the score on that one?
8. But very creative, and I love flowers.
A selection.
Okay, right up my alley, my kind of image. Couple things that jump out at me are the highlights, especially on which I'm guessing this is your focal point. It could be here, but that's my other criticism, is the focal point. There should be a hero in every food photography picture, whether that's one particular thing or a group of things. And so to me, there really isn't. I mean, it looks to me like the blackberry is what's in focus here, and the blueberry kind of in here, and those highlights. I mean, my eye goes right to that blueberry that has the little circle on it, and that's where it kind of sits and stays. But again, good composition and yummy stuff to photograph, and I gave it a 7. I like the fall off of the focus as well. All right, I love blueberries. I gave this an 8. handled the highlights really well. You can see the detail, you know exactly what it is. Your shadows and your dark spots might be a little black. There might not be any detail in there. I would pull up your shadows to give it a little bit more dimension. But other than that, great picture of a misty blueberry. So an 8.
Gingerbread, white, chocolate, striped.
Can't judge. It's just me.
Yeah, I should say, yeah, we did make sure that we allowed Teri to submit some, get member votes in here. She's been doing very well this year on the image competition. And so for the annual, we didn't want to have her, by judging tonight, be not eligible for this. So we wanted to make sure she got the member votes on this.
We can't give you a score. Can we give you, I'm hungry?
I'm hungry. It's a 20. No, I'm kidding. No.
No, we swear the cookies.
We ate those. Those are really good cookies. Okay, this has got beef. Okay, I gave this a 7. And the only reason I gave it a 7 is composition. So I would have flipped the plate around the other way. My eye goes immediately to that juice swipe in the front. And that's not where you want my eye to go. And I would have cleaned up that little spot that's off to the right of that. Yeah. You want your eye to go into that beef and you want to see every little, you've got some darkness underneath here. The shadows are probably no detail in those. That's not good. I would have brought that to the front and put more of your light or used a white modifier like a white card or something to put a little bit more light into the shadows of that piece of beef. But otherwise it looks like it's fresh cooked. It's juicy. It looks good, but I think I would have flipped your plate around a different way. I gave that a 7.
Yes, did.
Okay, what did I do with this one? Just did. Okay. Again, for me, it's the highlights. First thing when I look at this, I look at the middle strawberry and then I immediately go to all the white spots on the strawberries. Or cherries, I'm sorry. And then kind of like, I know it's on a white plate, but it just cuts the image off with the black background. And, it could be considered artistic or whatever, but it kind of like, okay, I see the middle cherry, I see the highlights, and then all I see is the division line behind the cherries. So I gave that one a 7. Tough to do. No judge. This
I could smell it.
this is my ribs, lips, neck, and ribs. Lily. Okay. All right. So this was one of those ones where on the screen here, now it's better, but when we first looked at it, the one part of it was there was no detail in a lot of the whites, but I was wrong on that one. So very nicely done. I'm trying to figure out in the back what is on the table. Tough to tell if it was a spill or on purpose or whatever, but let's see. I gave it, based on the highlights, I gave it a 7, but I'll bump that up to an 8 because the detail in the flower and all the petals is spot on. The reflection is good. Only thing is that, what is that in the background on the table? Looks like sugar or something. But anyway, an 8.
Lily of the Incase.
Okay, so this one was another one that was on the original one. It was like completely blown out and you couldn't see any detail on it. So let me kind of take a look at it a little bit more. And I'm trying to see where your focus point is. You might have even focus stacked this one. There's a lot of those petals that are in focus, as well as the leaves. So that's tough. I mean, well, it's not out in the wind blowing, so focus stacking is kind of a no-brainer when it's in the studio. So I'll give that one an 8 as well.
Muscle Beach.
Okay. All right. I gave this one a 7. And the only reason I gave it a 7 was because of composition and this big fat highlight that's over here. I would have twisted my plate to, yeah, to the, in that direction, so that the piece of fish, that whatever, might have been a little bit more, because right now my eye goes right to this top muscle and then back to the fish, and I think you would want it to go to the fish. Or if you want it to go to the muscle, then the composition of the plate is all off. A little harsh on your, this, I'm guessing this was a flash or a very harsh, continuous light. And then move your angle down, because your bottle of wine in your wine glass, or I would switch the wine glass to a one where you could actually see the wine, a low wine glass. But if you shot it down a little bit where you could see more of both of those, they would be less distracting and tell more of the scene. Right now they look like an afterthought in the back of your photo. I gave it a 7.
Like my drawing. I'm trying.
Teri's hands are like going over here pointing at it, and I'm like, you guys can't see.
Can't see it. So I'm like, I'm drawing.
Okay, so this one was another one that there was a, in the original image, this was like super duper hot, and now it's not super duper hot. But again, now that I see it, to me it's like right now it looks like the stem of this apple is in focus, and not much, it falls off fairly quickly on the apple. And if you're going to kind of do that, I would make more of that apple in focus. And I would also too, unless you're shooting it for somebody who needs a text or some sort of logo or saying or whatever on that side, to me it has you could have cut off a little bit, cropped it in a little bit, but I would have shot this where I would have put this one on an angle and put your other fruits up above it. But it's not enough in focus. Just the stem appears to be in focus. I gave it a 6.
On the rocks.
All right, I gave this an 8. Highlights were handled really well. Reflections were handled really well. Background is just a little bit of light shining on the left there that you probably could have dealt with, and over on this side from your light source. This highlights on the glass is not very distracting. Little bit on the top. I'm guessing it was hard to say. No, I don't think it was a flash, but well done. I gave it an 8.
Simple man.
Okay, let's see. Again, well done. Highlights, well done. The light, I probably would have brought it a little more to the side, because my eye like sees Jack Daniels and then I go right to that shadow in the front. I probably would have shot this vertically, because I see that you've got a pour in there, and that to me right now the way it is an afterthought. And I think that's cool when you do that and capture the motion of the pour. So I think it would have done this justice if it was shot vertically. I gave it a 7.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Okay, let's see. What did I say about this one? I gave this a 7 only because composition is the issue for me. I go right to the middle of this, and then I go over fishing to the right of what the heck it is. I know it's a walnut dipped in chocolate. I would have made, I don't know if it had salt on it or if it's just dry chocolate, but I might have cleaned up some of those chocolate spots to just make it a little bit cleaner if they weren't salt. I don't know. It's tough to tell if it was salted or not. I gave it a 7.
The number 7.
Okay, I gave this, the only reason I gave this is a 6. This is typical, when somebody's first learning how to do food photography, it's like, oh, I need to get everything in the picture. And that's not necessarily the truth. So your hero of this shot is the, I'm guessing it's some sort of pasole or something like that. And I would have brought the bowl to the forefront. I would have not shot it as high as you did. I want to see what's in that bowl and put all my supporting cast behind it. And I would have probably put one of those tortillas dipped on the other side to balance out the spoon or fork, whatever in there. But again, great idea. Just you don't have to have everything in the picture. Light's good, highlights are handled good, shadows are good. You got a little crumb cleanup on the tablecloth. You always, well, those are probably intentional, but down in here, there's crumbs. I go through my images like inch by inch by inch by inch, and if I don't think the crumb belongs there, or if there's a piece of hair or whatever, I take it out. I give it a 6.
Who wants pancakes?
Don't really have anything bad to say about this image at all. I gave it a 9. Highlights are great. Pour is great. You got breathing room. You got movement, the storytelling. The only thing in the background here, I don't know if that's your background, but I see the pour and then I go right to that little highlighted space there. Other than that, got nothing bad to say. Shadows are good. Everything's good. Well done. 9.
Beginner mono.
Beginner mono. Yep.
Delectable
Egg. Love it. Got nothing bad to say about it. Very creative. Your reflection is awesome. Your shadows are awesome. Your highlights are awesome. I think, like I said, nothing. The only little thing distracting is kind of your highlights down here, and then like I'm guessing that's the reflection of the egg on the fork. You can circumvent that by using flat silverware that don't have reflection, that don't reflect things. So other than that, awesome photo. I gave it a 9.
You see me.
Okie doke. I gave this a 7. Only reason is because of composition and then what I call no cleanup. There's all kinds of little specks of what if it's from the fruit or dust or whatever. And then to me, you have more of the picture that is empty space or negative space than you do of the actual fruit. So focus looks good, highlight looks good, but I would have taken out less of the negative space and then get out the broom and clean up the dust and little speckles because it's distracting. 7.
Noodle delight.
Okay, another great image. Highlights handled really well. Shadows handled really well. I can see the detail in the noodles. The only thing that kept this from getting a 9 is I would have put the noodles more toward the center of the photo and made your background less of a focus. Because right now you have more of the background showing than you do of your hero, which is your noodles. I gave it an 8. Otherwise, that's the only thing. Great image. Again, you don't have to show everything in a food image. Going offset is a good thing.
Okay.
All right, I gave this a 6 only because, or 2 reasons. One, the highlight that's right above the leaf, which I think is right dead center. My eye goes, first place goes right to that highlight. And then what I think is your hero flower, to me, does not look in focus. So in a still life photo, it's not moving, it's not doing nothing. Everything should be tack sharp. There should be, I mean, granted, your fall off, but you should, like in food, you should have a hero And you've got, let's see, there's that a shadow. It's hard to tell if that's something on, but a little bit of cleanup, it looks like might do it justice. I gave it a 6.
Succulent 2.
Okay, the same kind of thing with this. My eye goes to this here, and then it immediately comes to the one below it. And neither one looks like they're in focus. And then it goes down to this spot on the pot. And then whatever's going on in here, it looks like you might have tried to clone something out or fix something. Then also too, you've got all kinds of little spots all over your background or whatever your table is, whatever the plant is sitting on. I gave it a 6.
Waiting for a light breeze.
Okay, this was another one where it was previously blown out. So on the other, now I see a whole lot more detail. Okay, so blown out is out of the question. I'm going to change my score to this on 7. To a 7. The only thing I would do is, again, you have too much negative space, and the white border around it detracts from your flower. Other than that, love this kind of stuff. The detail is really good now that I can see it. Nicely handled.
It's advanced model. This one's called Black and White.
Very creative, tough to do. Trying to think, what was I thinking when I saw this? Trying to see where your light source is. It looks like it's from directly overhead, and the really harsh shadows. I'm not so sure that if you want that intentionally, it's distracting because it takes away. It gives me, so you have the black and white cookies, and I get it, and you arranged them in a pattern, but it's like I look at the cookie, then I look at the shadow, then I look at the cookie, and I look at the shadow. So first of all, in food photography, you never ever have a light source that shoots overhead like that. And I might have, we're in black and white, so you couldn't use a color background. Never mind. So I gave it I gave it a 7. Can't judge. This is me.
Oh, that's you. New eggs, no ham.
Okay. I like the blue handling of this, and I think before I gave it an 8. The only thing I think that is holding this back is the shadows. There's like absolutely no detail in there, and in your holes. I would have pulled that up a little bit. And some of these other like dark egg spots, I probably would have cloned out. But you've got your highlights or your focus point in the right place. I can tell it's an egg, and I like that it's blue. Yeah, this was another one of those ones that kind of came off. And I'll stick with, I gave it an 8. I really have nothing bad to say about it. The detail is fantastic now that I can see it. Might be a little dark up in that little corner there, but I can still see detail, but it is a little distracting because technically, where do you want my eye to go? I would make this a little bit lighter in here because that's where my eye wants to go, but then I get stuck there. Yep. So I gave it an 8.
Fracture.
Got nothing bad to say about this. I gave it a 9. Creative, tough to balance eggs like that or shells like that. Your highlights are good. Your shadows are good. Background, foreground looks like you don't have any cleanup to do. Nothing really bad to say about it. Very nicely done. Hard to do black and white food. Tough. Trust me, I had to go through image after image after image to try to find good black and white food.
Fruit in a bowl.
Okay. Couple things about this. One is it's really dark. And I don't have much, there's not really highlights. I mean, I can tell, are they grapes? I mean, I can tell it's some kind of fruit. I don't know if it's grapes and blueberries or cherries and blueberries. It's kind of like there's nothing telling me what it is. This highlight, my eye gets stuck on this big highlight right smack dab in the middle. And then I go immediately to this line, which is probably part of your background. You might have zoomed in a little bit more on the bowl to get rid of that. I would have taken that out for sure. I gave it a 7.
Grapes on a plate.
Okay, so this was one of those ones. Okay, so I gave it a 6, and I might be persuaded to change it, but actually no, I think I'm going to leave it because my eye goes right smack dab to that highlight in the middle, and then it goes to trying to figure out what it is here. I would have positioned my grapes where I would have eliminated this big shadow where the grapes were just laying on the plate, and I might have brought my camera angle down a little bit so I wasn't quite as much on top of it. And then off to the whatever this is, if it's part of your background or if it's part of the plate, or I kind of get stuck over there wondering what that is. And then you've got a lot of little spots, cleanup stuff that you should have gone in and cleaned up. So grapes on a plate, I gave 6.
Humpty Dumpty.
Okay, I gave this a 7, and the only reason I gave it a 7 is because, again, your star is the egg on the plate. Your highlights are good, your shadows are good, all of that, but then I look at the egg and then I go right to that big old white space and I get stuck there. I would have put less of that white so that I had, or even zoomed in more of the egg, but for that reason, I gave it a 7. There's no real star of that.
Life of a daily.
All right, this was one of those ones that was kind of blown out at the other. I originally gave it a 6, but I think I'm going to change it to a 7 because I can now see some of the detail. I'm not sure down in here, this petal, it looks like it's kind of just floating there. And it looks like you kind of have some smudges on your background. Detail's good in the 2 flowers in the middle, but it could use a little bit of cleanup. The thing about black and white images, if you're putting stuff on a black or a white background, man, go inch by inch and clean up those spots, man, because there's some up here too. You got to clean that up because they can force someone's eye to go right to them.
Open sesame.
Okay, got nothing bad to say about this one. Highlights are good, maybe a little bit dark. I would have maybe pull your shadows up in the middle here. And yeah, just that would fix that. This might do good with a little vignette because I go here to your hero and then I kind of go over here to this lighter bagel over there. But I gave it a 9. Details great, highlights are great. Color, I mean, obviously black and white handled really well. So good job on that. Just pull up your shadows. I think you'd be great.
Now yours.
Yep, texture of cabbage.
The evening begins.
Okay. All right. This is a great image, a great storytelling image. Highlights are handled great. Reflections a little bit in the front because that's where my eye goes, right there. Okay. And then I go immediately to the hands. I would have probably, to be a stronger storytelling on this, I would have probably brought more of the hands in and moved this first glass and the second glass over to the far third a little bit more. It just a smidge more, and then brought more of the people in there. This I get kind of stuck here. Is that a chair? I'm guessing it's a chair at the end of the table, not sure. And then this kind of looks like it's floating in the background, so not sure. Evening begins, I gave an 8.
done.
So it's funny because I had this exact same idea, and had I not been leaving on a trip, I was going to do this. So, I have nothing bad to say about this picture, other than the only thing that I would have done is the Oreo in the middle, I would have turned so Oreo is spelled properly. That's the only, the details, the shadow, I mean, you've got some dark shadows down here where you might not have some detail, but other than that, love it, gave it a 9.
You got 3 to pick from.
You got a few little cleanup, but that's just the Oreo. Me meticulously, I would have gone and dealt with every one of those little crumbs, but that would be just me. Oh, this is gonna be tough. Can I pick 2? Dang.
Technical merit.
Technical. I'm gonna go with the egg one, only because getting that to balance and getting that stacked and all your highlights and everything, you have no cleanup, no nothing. And the Oreo thing has got a few crumbs and the Oreo backwards, and that's what, I mean, both are great images, but that one, I think it just edges it out for those reasons.
All righty, winner.
That was which one? The,
The egg.
Fracture. So Beat Streak was by Tony. And then I'm gonna have to look at.
Wherever your numbers are.
my numbers are over.
Her hands.
5, 7, 8.
They're not in order.
Jeff Scott.
Oh, it starts here.
It starts there.
5, 7.
And there's 12 here. What
Right.
I'm doing then is I'm copying on that 5 is there.
I just have to jump back and forth. So, but Lakeside Bouquet is Jim Resita. Sorry, I can't pronounce.
7.
That's
So
Tony.
B, C, D.
Food category, what the heck, dude?
Drew blank.
It's half part of the news. 11 from B to L is 11. I would say that. So somewhere in there.
For devils.
This is Carolyn Ryman.
B
Right,
through L
right.
is 11.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Jane
knowing
Ri-
the order of the
Jane
images,
Richards.
it's
Nice,
here.
nice.
It's not
You
in
did
the
very
first
well.
one. There's something missing. in
Carolyn
the last
Ryman.
Correct,
second,
exactly.
but which-
Yep, just a couple tweaks, that would be good.
That's right.
Gary Hubble, Gary Hubble, I believe. Let me verify,
Figure
double
that out,
check.
but if there's one.
Yeah, reflections on that one.
Yep,
I
Gary
know here,
Hubble.
But then they're all gonna slide, so if I
Come
go
on.
through here.
Come on, mouse.
So I'm saying there's one
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
missing. But if I go through here,
Thank you.
some of these could be shifted down, right, because this one here.
That's
doesn't have
mine.
a spool.
Right.
Ryman.
Right, we don't.
Just zoom in.
Place.
Jane
Yeah.
Richards.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
I-
Nice.
These all have names to them. I would have to go through and find out which name is missing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whenever I go
No,
back to,
I understand.
Well,
It's
that one,
like-
that one.
but to do that in
It's
a matter of
somewhere
a couple
in-
minutes.
it's somewhere in this
Yeah,
last
Jeff Scott.
seven.
And that's pretty going through all this thing, like 5 times, so it's already.
What's that?
going Over to
I
the.
guess it
advanced,
goes
the house
that
already
Oh, the
still
next
struggling
one.
with this one.
Yeah, then the
I
next.
don't-
Missing one.
Advanced.
I don't know like the
Exactly.
scores
should be
came
voted.
from.
Oh, yeah, anniversary bouquet.
Where do-
Anniversary
where are the-
bouquet.
where are the block scores?
If they don't make it to that spreadsheet, then do I have? them?
Kathy
There's gonna be
Sneed.
one
I'm
image
asking
that
where are the
there's gonna be one
block
image
scores?
that I'm missing.
Yeah. That's
And
what I'm
what
trying to
it-
figure out,
and-
like from
and-
the
and I'll be-
software, from the software.
And I would
This
be able
is,
to go to, if I, like this would do, if I
Oh,
expand this,
Susan
you'll
Langer.
see the name, right? Sparkling.
Oh, okay, oh, okay. So
Just
you'll-
don't do
Did she
it.
leave?
It's what you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is Bruce Norman.
Nice.
Cleaning up, I'll go through. and
Good
try to
blueberry.
find-
Terry Virbickis.
Do you want to
Virbickis.
explain
Virbickis.
the color outline
Dave
on the sheet?
Purcell.
Close.
Did you-
Where it's going.
Did you eat it? Did you eat the steak afterwards?
So like,
Susan Langer,
Whichever the.
That's how it's.
Teri. That was awesome. Ah, I don't remember who this was.
Great. I'm trying to figure out what's in the background.
Was that Callie?
So the first one is.
Callie, was that?
The lily. Lily something.
Lily.
What was in the background on the table? Sugar? Yeah, I was like, it looks like, yeah.
That's Jeff. This is Lily Virbickis.
Lakeside,
Pretty.
and that's one of the ones that gets the. Right here, seven.
Lily what?
Lily of the end case,
Right
right there. Kathy
Kathy
Keene.
Sneed.
It's pretty.
Yes, correct.
Dave Purcell. Dave Purcell.
Composition, that's it, dude.
Next.
This is Jeff. This is Jeff. Some I remember. This is Chuck's.
Yeah, I figured I knew that was Chuck's. He told me he was gonna do that. I knew that was Chuck's. That's
This
Chuck's.
is Elaine.
Oh, that's Elaine's. Elaine.
That was Elaine.
Thanks.
This is Bruce. Bruce Norman. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Carino, me. Big Q. So just squeeze it in some more, huh?
Yep. Bring that bowl forward and put all the little players in the background.
Elaine.
Yeah, that was good. Nice work on that
Motor
one.
oil or syrup?
No, that is real
Sure,
syrup.
it is.
But it is like the cheapest of the cheap King Super syrup I could find, and I put it in the refrigerator to get it cold.
So it
Because the
poured
first time I tried it, it was just like going all
over the place. Yep. That's tough to do. Typically, they do that with motor oil, believe it or not. Yeah, yeah,
We watch.
yeah, bad. Typically, those pancakes and syrup, those are all motor oil.
This is Jane Richards.
Nice work again, Miss Jane. That is very cool, very creative.
Carolyn Ryman.
That's tough to shoot on.
Tony.
I've done that, and it's, the cleanup
Tony as
is
well.
a disaster. Yeah,
This is Jane Richards.
yep, another nice one. Move those noodles to the front a little more. That was great. Kicking you out of the intermediate category. Black and white food's tough.
This is Jeff, this is your.
No,
Jeff
Scott.
This is it?
Jeff Scott.
Jeff Scott's, okay. This is mine.
Nice work on that one.
7.842.
Do the salsa pie?
Hmm?
Salsa pie? Salsa pie?
Salsa pie? Oh,
And what is it?
waiting for a light breeze or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
not
now-
a dandelion, it's also.
It's
I got
the-
two.
The big one, the real big.
Oh, yeah, the real big one.
That, it's actually.
Oh, is that what they're called? I didn't know that.
Oh, gee.
Is that what it's called?
It's-
The last one,
This is
for whatever reason, it goes out.
Because you saw all of them. This is Terry's.
Broccoli Romanesco.
This is Bruce Norman's.
Yeah, I like the blue, the good treatment on the blue.
Okay.
This is which one?
Just a little dark in the shadows.
Kathy Sneed. This is Kathy Sneed. Oops, sorry, I'll go back.
The other one.
Do you not know how to work your computer?
No, my auto hide is. Elaine.
Yep.
Very
Nice work
nice.
on that
I like that one.
What did you do to get them to stand?
A
Glue.
little small piece of tape.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's not, that's
This
not,
is the
I
fruit.
I washed them out that morning to make
Uh-huh.
sure, and I just stacked them. They stuck together.
right, no, I'm sure they
Really-
stuck
really
together. I
easily.
just,
Actually, it was kind of one of those, like, when I tried to like turn them just a
Jeff
little bit to
Woodard-
get just the
Woodard-
right
Right.
thing, like
Woodard.
some of them wouldn't move.
yeah.
But yeah, it was just like a little piece of tape.
It was grapes on the plate. That's Jeff's too, I think, yeah.
Since they were empty, yeah.
This is Dave Purcell.
Composition.
Kathy Sneed, I think. I'm gonna double check.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that one little flower is just floating out there.
Who's here? Kathy Sneed, yeah.
No.
This is Bruce Norman's. Hang on for those.
Nice work on that one. A lot of detail.
Terry, I like that one.
It's purple and white.
Susan Langer. Dave Purcell. Did you eat
Yeah.
all those Oreos?
Yeah, in fact, my grandson ate them.
Seriously, I had the exact same idea.
Had that Oreo and a glass. That was
Okay.
one up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just turn that that's what prevented you, and then a couple little specks, but turn that Oreo around so it said Oreo.
For some reason.
There's a lot wrong with that.
There's
Yeah,
nothing-
I'm
no.
with you. That's,
No.
yeah.
Well, I was actually trying to make it random. Didn't want it to all be.
Right,
very
but-
sugary.
right, but if I was Oreo company and obviously my eye goes to that cookie in the middle and it's upside down, I'm be like, oh, I can't use this.
It's just the one in the
It's a
middle,
broken
just
glass.
that one, the rest of
Right?
them were
The
fine.
rest of them were fine.
Yes.
It's just that one in the middle. Turn it so it reads right. Sorry.
The selling point, huh?
I got spanked a lot during this one. 6, 5. Can I give him less than a 5?
Sorry. No, I would never do that.
No, your comments are right on. Oh, yeah. See it now.
Okay.
I get too hurried. Okay, you got the wieners?
Got it.
All right.
Okay, let's see here. We've got for beginner digital, color, we have, judges award is Oso Lemon.
That
First place in the members voting.
Nice
That
picture.
also was number 1,
Yeah.
Oso Lemon with Jane. Number 2 is Carolyn Ryman, Move Over, I Am Coming. And third place is Jane Richards with Tantalizing Spaghetti. And honorable mention is Bruce Ryman with Tenoshi.
Oh,
Tanoshi, look
that
at
one
you.
right there. It's the last third one for the end.
All right. Advanced digital color. So we will start with actually judges award and first place in the member voting was Elaine Graves with Who Wants Pancakes. Congratulations, that was good.
Yep, that was good.
Second place is Lick Smackin' Barbecue Ribs with Teri Virbickis. Number 3 was Elaine Graves, also with Simple Man. And honorable mention was Dave Purcell with Gut Beef.
Got beef.
All right.
He's taking us all to dinner.
Beginner intermediate digital mono. We've got here, let's see, Judges Award and first place, Jane Richards with Delectable Egg.
Good to know we're on sync here.
That's right.
She's the photographer of the year
I
next year.
tried that one and I didn't like the way my life came out. So I said,
And so I guess we got second place, Jane Richards with Noodle Delight.
Oh, my goodness.
That's that fifth one.
Third place, Carolyn Ryman with You See Me.
Which one?
And
Second one.
You See Me.
Okay.
And honorable mention, Bruce Ryman with Waiting for a Light Breeze.
Last one.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay, we'll go
There you
to
You guys are pinning
advanced
down here.
digital monochrome. We have, let's see, first place was Jeff Woodward with Fruit in a Bowl. No, excuse me, sorry. That I got my numbers wrong here.
Needs a bigger screen.
I don't have my glasses, but I can't
I've
see.
got it now.
A lot of help you are.
But I could mostly read the paper. Mostly.
Next time we'll bring a 10-year-old so they can read the screens.
It's a calculator.
Zoom in.
Can't do-
Man, plus, plus, plus.
Yep.
Okay, just about there. Okay. Okay, so we'll go with member, let's see, judges vote here was judges first place was Fracture with Elaine Graves. Member voting, first place, Dave Purcell with Twist Lick Dunk.
Last one.
Second place, Elaine Graves with Fracture. And third place is Kathy Sneed with Kawa.
Right there. Nope,
Honorable
you had
mention.
it.
Hold on.
Is it that one? No, it was the other one.
Oh, this
Sorry.
right here.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that's
that
my
one.
fault. All right.
Okay, sorry, honorable mention, Teri Virbickis with Texture of Cabbage.
Perfect. All right. Well,
Yeah, congratulations.
All right, awesome picture.
all right.
Well done,
anything
you
else?
non-food talkers.
So those of you at home, we're gonna put chairs away and head out and fight the storm.
I gotta go home and